in Bumblebee, if you remember, he left Bumblebee being like, all right, we're going to seek refuge on Earth, but we're going to go back and stop the Decepticons. Like that's a goal of his, and it still is in this film. And that might bump heads with what Optimus Prime will go. And I can't say anything more beyond that, but you have to
That's it.
out. But that's what draws attention out.
Fantastic.
And if that makes
Fantastic.
any sense. This is only for fans. This is only for people who
This
know.
is only for the fans. But you know what? If you don't know, you're gonna know.
You're gonna.
Hey, welcome, young and old, bot and con, Terracon and Maximal, to tonight's episode of Teletran Creatorverse. I'm your host, Alfonso Peterman. Oh man, this one's gonna be good. The final countdown to the global release of Transformers Rise of the Beasts has officially begun, as we are now only 23 days away until the launch of this film and the grand return of the live-action Transformers franchise after almost 5 years. And the marketing engine has been on full steam ahead, with captivating trailers giving us a glimpse of exciting new storylines, with life-size statues touring the world, and augmented reality campaigns virtually bringing our heroes to our environments, and with an onslaught of vibrant new character posters for fans to geek over, all combined with action figures, TV spots, and so much more. Well, my guest tonight is the mastermind who has graciously taken the mantle of rolling out a new direction for the Transformers film franchise. Through his newfound leadership and commitment, we are soon to rise up once again with a fresh new beginning. Tonight, I am humbled and highly honored to welcome, for the first time, the director of Transformers Rise of the Beasts himself, Mr. Stephen Caple Jr. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hey, look at that intro. The intro was amazing. It was
It's what I
amazing.
do. It's what I
I
do. It's
love
what I
it. I
do.
love it. Beat the chest, primal, roar.
Primal, yes.
No, this is super cool, bro. Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I'm glad to see, be on Alfonso Nation. I know you're a big fan, bro. Like, as soon as I got the job, I seen you. And I love it. And you've been very consistent all the way through and a huge supporter, dude. So like this is awesome to be here and be able to chat with you. We haven't, yeah, you're right. We fully kicked off the press tour like last week, you know,
Awesome.
which is kind of
Wow.
like the same time we finished the movie. But
Oh my
it's cool
goodness.
though. And I'm really excited for you guys to check it out and excited to chat about it, man. Whatever I could tell you, we don't have to
Yes, of course.
after the
Of
movie's
course.
released, but I'm here for you and definitely a fan. So thank you, brother.
Awesome. Well, I simply could not thank you enough for being here and coordinating this interview. I know your time is valuable and understandably starting to tighten up as the press campaign starts kicking up.
Mhm.
So thank you for, doing this, and thank you for your entire team for making it happen. On behalf of myself and the Alfonso Nation, we really appreciate all that you do. So I wanted
Oh,
to
of
express
course.
that.
Of course. This one's different, man. I know it's going to hit different. It's
Yeah.
you do a lot of press runs, but when you get a chance to chop it up with like the true heroes, which are like the fans, man, and like really touch base with everybody, it's amazing. I try to do my best with like keeping in touch with people. So this is I love it. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I also just wanted to, personally commend you for being so involved with the fandom. I mean, as someone who has been following the film franchise and have a deep passion for it, one that even inspired me to become a creator, this is the first time I think in history that a live action Transformers director routinely interacts with the online community at the level that you do. And I just want to say, it doesn't go unnoticed or
I
unappreciated.
haven't thought about that. All right, that's a
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
haven't thought
it
about
it
it.
doesn't go unappreciated, So we wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I can see why other directors probably won't, but again, like I'm a fan, and not only that, like just being able to chop it up. I feel like you get the real, keeps you grounded, in the sense of like when developing, creating your art, yeah, you're doing it for yourself, you know, when you're trying to create content. But then when you're interacting with fans and you're like, oh, damn, there it goes. I skipped a beat. Or, all right, let me slow it down. That's right. My fan over here just reminded me of this. And you're trying to piece everything together. Like, it's always good to listen and have an ear to the ground, you know. I won't jump too far into it because I know you got a lot to talk about, but
Of course.
one of the ways Unicron came about was that, you know, as a fan myself, I wanted to see it and how I felt after the last night, being like, I want more. I want more of that. Like at the tag of the movie, I'm like, that's the film I want to see. Now being in a position where I can do that, and also hearing the fans as well, like it's really cool to put that stamp in and give that guy a voice. But it's because of platforms, you know, and be able to talk with you guys. So
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's talk about this journey. I mean, wow, we're almost there. We're almost
yeah,
there.
we're almost there. We're almost there. We're done with the film itself, but you know, it's been like a 2.5 year process. You know, I got this gig, I'm gonna call it a gig, in 2020, like during COVID. Very, very pivotal moment for the film industry. I think everyone was trying to figure out what they're gonna do next, and Paramount knew that, you know, their big sort of franchises were like Transformers and things like that. And I had already kind of slightly interviewed for the job before COVID, but then COVID hit and no one knew what they were going to do. And so when they called me back, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're still making movies. Like the cinemas are opening. They're like, it will be. And I was like, all right, you know, if we can be one of the first ones out the gate, then great. But then it had its own issues in terms of COVID 2020, trying to shoot in crazy locations, you know what I mean, that are still closed down from the quarantine. It was all a little tough, but we are here and the movie's about to come out in 3 weeks, if that. I'm not even counting. I'm like in a whirlwind. Like I'm like still coming off of like making the film.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting watching people react to it when I just like dropped in the last visual effects shot last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how has the overall journey been for you, working on the film, and how has working on Rise of the Beast stood out to you versus working on like unrelated franchises?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the franchise before. You know, I mean, my first feature was The Land, so it was like an independent film that I wrote and created myself, based off of some kids that I mentored. So it was more personal. You know, I went back home and shot it in Cleveland, and then, you know, I was part of the Rocky franchise. You know, I got a chance to like do my thing with Creed, and you know, when you're part of a franchise, you go, okay, as a fan, what do you want to see, right? What kind of excitement do you want to see, and then you're like, all right, how can I put my own spin on it. Like, what's my take or what's my feeling or emotion, you know? And a lot of that was able to come out through some of the characters in this one, you know, Rise of the Beast. I can't say plot, you know, usually your plots are like, let's save the world, let's stop the bad guy, which is true. Our world is very much at stake. Unicron, Terracon, so it is big. But when you're up here as a director, me coming from my background of drama, you just find ways to go from here to like here and like make sure people can really focus in on some of your favorites like Optimus Prime, Mirage, and what we put into him, Optimus Primal. You know, it's a lot of character work there, and it goes from working on the design, which can take a lot of time, to voicing them and putting them on the screen and making them become real, you know? So it's very different from what I've done in the past. Huge learning curve, but Paramount and everyone definitely gave me the time. You know, there's that one moment last year where we had a push. I don't know, probably won't say that out loud, but we had a push last year because of visual effects, because everyone was kind of funneled in and everyone was trying to make their movie next year. So that was one of the things we had to do. But you know, we're here now and we wanted to make sure it was right. So I think the fans are going to really enjoy it, and it will definitely, I can tell you, it's worth the wait for sure.
Fantastic. I absolutely love to hear it. That's what I'm talking about. Um, now, one of the things you said recently is that, one of your favorite parts about working on this film is all the locations you got to film at. I mean, you guys filmed in a bunch of locations: Iceland, New York, Montreal, the jungles of Tarapoto, Cusco, Machu Picchu, Sacred Valley. Um, how much would you say, filming at all of these locations impacted the presentation of the story? How important was it to capture all of these diverse environments for this film?
Oh, it's super important. I mean, I fall underneath the diversity chain myself, you know, and so for me as a Black creator and making sure that one, you're represented on screen and is cared for, you know, Dominique Fishback and Anthony Ramos and Toby, and everybody else is in the film. Like that's like the first representation, and then when it comes to the locations themselves, that's the second. So like I knew the studio wanted to go to Peru, So it wasn't my idea. I put that out there. The studio's like, we want to go to Peru. It has its challenges because the place has never been shot before, but it's a beautiful place. What they told me, because I've never been. And I've only seen it on like, Discovery Channel or stuff like that, seeing the beautiful ruins and everything. And so when I finally got there, I'm like, okay, the story started to click to me even more while we were developing the script. I started to visit these locations, Machu Picchu and everything like that, and Cusco, and got a chance to see what their festival was going to be because they had to cancel their festival. Like Inti Raymi had to be canceled because of COVID. And I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful festival. I would love to like actually shoot it. And they're like, we can't because of COVID. And so what we ended up doing, like, what if we recreate it? What if we brought the people who were going to actually make the floats and put the parade together? And we did it. Like we kind of brought it back to life. We followed quarantine protocol, and the locals were able to like, have the festival, and we were able to like be there and be part of that and capture it. And it was really important for me because I was like, I want to make sure if we're going to Peru that we're not just shooting the locations, you're getting a sense of their culture. You're getting a sense of like, how the church was built underneath Incan temples and things like that. So you have all these layers in the background happening as we're moving along through our story with the Transformers. And they're connected to us. At the end of the day, Transformers are important, but you can only go so far without having that human connection. So Peru and these other locations definitely gave that. And then beyond that, the commercial part of it all, it's definitely beautiful, man. Like Machu Picchu, being there, waking up early in the morning, being able to, put a camera down and actually shoot something on, one of the many wonders of the world, but like beautiful, beautiful
Wow.
location of taking.
That's extra. I can only imagine. And on an IMAX screen, I can just imagine how that would be
Oh yeah,
delivered
it's
to
gonna be
fans.
beautiful in IMAX for sure. It's gonna be beautiful in IMAX. I just saw it in IMAX yesterday. I saw the IMAX yesterday. I saw the 3D version today, and then on Monday I saw the Dolby Vision. So I'm just now like seeing everything, which is crazy. So
All
yeah.
right. So this is not even in my questions, but you said
Mhm.
that it's very interesting. I'm gonna be seeing it for the first time in Dolby Cinema. But
Mhm.
then, the second time IMAX. Out of all of those formats, as the director, which one do you recommend?
Oh no, that's a tough one. You put me on the spot. Oh my God. It's a toss up between Dolby and IMAX. Personally, I love Dolby. Like I watch a lot of my films in Dolby Vision. I love IMAX as well. So that's the only way I kind of watch movies. I'm going to the theater, to be honest with you.
All right, all right.
I don't watch 3D often. Like I saw Avatar 3D, but I don't really like, I'm not running to it. I can say that we definitely have some cool 3D moments in our film, and it's a winner, like for sure. There are a few shots from like had 3D in mind when doing it. But like in terms of like beauty and aesthetic, like, if you don't want to put on the glasses, Dolby Vision is like, it's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that's good because that's what I'm gonna be seeing for the first time. Okay. So
And what's
moving on.
crazy too, now I'm getting technical. But what's crazy too about it, sorry, Alfonso, like the
No,
robot detail in like both are really great. Because what we did is our film, you'll see, like we have a lot of night scenes. We're a tad bit darker, a little bit grittier with the style I was going for. So like get technical, like the blacks really pop. Like you see Optimus Prime, you can see like in between, each one of his pieces of armor, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff on screen is just beautiful. And you can't get that in every like theater. So Dolby and IMAX, you can definitely see it. So check it out.
fantastic. Now, this is also the first movie featuring Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback as the two human leads in the film. And it's worth mentioning that both of them are going to be making history by being the first main characters of color in live action Transformers movie, and yourself as well, even being the
Yeah.
first movie director of color for Transformers. A lot of people have said incredible things about the work environment that you've created to best position them to excel in their roles. From your
Mm,
point of view, though, what was it like getting everyone grounded on set and directing this kind of movie? How
yeah.
important was it for you to create that personable connection with everyone for a healthy production?
Yeah, I mean, as cheesy as it may sound, man, like I'm very collaborative through the experience, If you talk to Dominique Fishback, she'll probably tell you like how much she was involved with creating Elena, her character. She was shocked when she was like, I want to change this, I want to change that. I'm like, go meet the writers, go sit down and talk and like let's adjust because I want everyone to feel really comfortable. It's like that's my job. Because like I think once you go into a film set and everyone's feeling really comfortable, you create the best work. And I think the best way to put it is like, everyone came to set ready to fail. It's like if we're there and we're not challenging ourselves, if we're not pushing ourselves to the limit and only playing in our safe box, then we failed. So everyone felt that, all right, I want to try this, I want to try that. I'm like, go ahead, do your take, wild out as much as you can, bring what you want to the character. So that played both in the production side, working with actors, and in post production, when you're dealing with a team or a visual effects department or voiceover actors, right, who are also actors and talent, like all of that. Like I'm very collaborative with my experiences, and I always open the book, aka the script, and always want to make people feel comfortable on set. This one was interesting because there's a lot of robots, transformers in our movie. You know what I mean? So like and I know, including myself as a fan, that's what we want. But there are definitely moments where a lot of it. Anthony Ramos and Dominique, they're in the film, but they're surrounded. Like it's 1994. I won't spoil the plot for you, but it's 1994, right? So we're after Bumblebee. The world really doesn't know that Transformers exist. Bumblebee kind of kept it on the hush, right? Like everything felt like only Sector 7 and the Army knew, so not the entire world knew. They weren't on the news. So in our film, it was tricky because we're like, how do we balance that now? Like, how do we sneak? How do we fall in between the cracks? And we're like, at night is a big thing, right? Not too many humans, a lot of robots, right? A lot of transformers, seeing what is like their conversation, how they're trying to get back home, all of this. And so when you bring in the humans, when I say humans, Anthony Ramos and Dom, they're working with like 8 robots a day. You know what I mean? So they're like looking around at tennis balls trying to deliver their lines. That probably was the hardest part. Like week 1, I don't want to say we failed, but like, the first 3 days, it was me delivering Optimus Prime line and like my AD delivering a line, right? And then I realized like, this isn't fully working. Like I can't project like Peter Cullen, or I can't, and my AD can't be RC. Like they're not getting the fill. And so I hired actors to come on set, and literally we have tennis balls up, and then it'll be like a tennis ball up, certain height, and then you'll have the actor right behind, the voice actor, to have a microphone, and the only person that can hear them is me and the 2 actors. So they had an earpiece in that we had to like, dig deep in and also erase certain shots so they can hear the actor and bounce off lines off of an actual actor. And we had some pretty good actors. We were shooting all over the world. So, we had like 2 or 3 different Peter Cullens, but they were trying to give their best impression of Optimus Prime, but it was like just enough for Anthony to get a feel for like, oh, Optimus Prime's holding a little tension here. Like he's testing me a bit, and that's our movie. I'm like rambling on. I could talk about this all day, but
Dude,
Optimus Prime is definitely seen in a different light in this film. And so it was very important because, his lines aren't like, we got to just save the world, or we got to do this. Like it was on some, like, it's very much character depth. So like in order for us to get that kind of performance out of it, we needed an actor to kind of, project these lines and also deliver the performance. And that helped Anthony and Dom, our humans, so to speak.
that's phenomenal. First of all, that's incredible. Okay. Second of all, I know that they aced it. I mean, it might have taken some getting used to in the beginning, but it sounds like that's something that
A little bit, just a
yeah,
little. They got it. They're great actors, man. Like Anthony Ramos is super charming, man, and like you like him instantly, and he's funny. And I see you see some of his acting chops in this. You see the one trailer piece where he says, "I'm not even here right now. I can't even see this right now." Like a lot of that stuff we were figuring out on set. We're like Optimus Prime picks him up, and we have this huge rig machine that picks him up into the air. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I would lose my mind. And I'm sorry. And he's like, yeah, bro, I'll be losing my mind. I'm like, let's pretend as if you're not even here. Like, crack a joke with like trying to lighten the moment. And we'll do stuff on set. And Anthony's really good at that. And he's theater trained. And Dominique, man, she's so grounded. I don't know if you've seen any of her work, her latest Swarm. But like I needed that, when you're dealing with a huge world of like, imagination, right? Like alien robots and another eating planet. It's like a planet eating a planet. You needed like grounded characters, and Dominique Fishback is that, and she was wonderful to work with. So like, yeah, I love my cast, man. They're amazing. You'll see
that's
it.
awesome. And you're an amazing director, so it all blends in.
I'm cool, I'm
I'm cool. I'm
I'm cool.
good. Yeah.
I'm cool. We'll see, I guess, the folks see.
Yeah. Nah. I'm pretty sure you did a phenomenal job. Now, during production, you shared a behind the scenes clip of yourself and Michael Bay working on set of the film. And we know Michael
Yeah.
Michael is known for bringing that raw action and delivering excitement. And I'm
Bayham.
sure Bayham, that's right. And I'm
Yeah.
sure his expertise in this genre was a great value to you and, getting acquainted with it, filming this kind of movie. how has his contribution impacted your directing, if at all, and the overall anatomy of the combat in the movie?
Well, him as a fan of Bay's, like and I told Bay this when I first met him, Bad Boys is one of the reasons why I got into filmmaking, like the original Bad Boys One, and that got me into it. Like that was my first itch. And so like for me now to take the reins or to step into a franchise that he was in, I can only hit him up and be like, hey, on visual effects. I've never done it before. So it was like small tidbits of advice here and there. But that particular video was the only time he actually came on set. He was busy with Ambulance. He was shooting this film Ambulance. And he came on set as soon as he was done. And he came and checked us out in Peru. And yeah, we didn't have any fireworks that day. We didn't have any like explosion. That day was so chill. Like we were just running up against like the sun in the rain because we were high in this mountain. So one minute it could be like scorching hot, you can't shoot anything. Next minute it'd be pour raining and clouds in front of you. It was the most chaotic sort of location we were in. But he was there hanging out with us like the whole day, and he was just like hanging with the actors. I was telling him how I was shooting the robots, and Transformers and like what kind of angles I was going for. And then I paid homage to him, in a couple of ways in there. I was like, I'm definitely gonna pay homage with two classic like push-ins, looking tilted up at a high angle, tilted up looking at our actors. So you guys will see it. Yeah,
Awesome.
he's cool.
Very cool. Now, one of the biggest aspects of this film is the major collaboration of characters that's being introduced for the first time in live action. It's like almost like a multiverse style film, bringing in Beast Wars, merging them with G1 based characters. What can you tell fans about the newfound relationship that the Autobots and the Maximals are going to build, and how important will that be for this story and possibly any of the following sequels?
Oh, I see what you're trying to do there. You're trying to see where the movie's going. You think you slick up. So,
Spoilers aside, spoilers
all I
aside.
would say is like, for this film, if you're when you're going into it, if you can watch it as like this is the foundation, like this is where we're starting from now with like the Transformers and where we're trying to go. And with that, you want to naturally build relationships. We're not going to like rush any love stories. We're not going to rush any relationships, friendships or anything like that. Like it was if an alien lands on Earth and it has to interact with Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback, these two young people from Brooklyn, they're going to give them their Brooklyn personality. You know what I mean? And like, so at first they're bumping heads. And it goes the same with the Maximals. I can't go too deep into it because it gets too confusing, especially for the fans who know. So this is one for if where the Maximals come from and like dealing with space and time, so to speak. But like in our particular case, with Optimus Primal, he knows of Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime doesn't know of him. And again, this is for the fans who know, they know what I'm talking about. And so when they first meet, it's a little bit of a square off, but they're like, what's going on? Who are you? Are you the guy I know? Slash, what's going on? I don't know you at all, from one perspective. And with that, it's not like, hey, okay, we're both from the same family. Let's grow together. It's like, I have my agenda and you have yours. And you'll see because Optimus Prime, we love him. He's noble, but he's about, his Cybertronians. He's about the people on Cybertron right now, and that's his goal. Doesn't dislike anyone on planet Earth, but that's his mission, and he owes it. He feels like he left in Bumblebee. If you remember, he left Bumblebee being like, "All right, we're going to seek refuge on Earth, but we're going to go back and stop the Decepticons." Like that's a goal of his. And it still is in this film. And that might bump heads where what Optimus Prime will go, and I can't say anything more beyond that. But you have to
That's it.
out, but that's what draws attention out.
Fantastic.
That makes
Fantastic.
any sense. This is only for fans. This is only for people who
This
know.
is only for the fans. But you know what? If you don't know, you're gonna know.
You're gonna know.
Now I gotta bring this up. This is a topic that fans have been talking about. This is good though. This is good. I'm not gonna back you into a corner. I promise. Now, one of the hottest talking points within the fandom is the shift in design for Autobot Wheeljack. Now he's been a popular meme, and so many fans are beginning to nickname him Pablo, because of the nickname on his car.
I love that. I love the Pablo Wheeljacks. I dig
Yeah.
that. I vouch for like let's call him Pablo Wheeljacks.
All right, cool deal. Now, so from a director standpoint, though, like without spoiling any specifics, what can you tell fans about the process that led to this dramatic shift from his Bumblebee movie appearance to what we're going to see in Rise of the Beast? Like
Yeah.
what happened there?
it was really small and I can't spoil it, it's like it's one you have to see, but it was really small in Bumblebee. I think they were all on Cybertron. Everyone was really small in Bumblebee. Like everyone had like a quick intro and then we left Cybertron. Oh man, there's so much I'm gonna tell you guys.
Okay,
Uh,
okay, okay, okay.
we left Cybertron. There's without spoiling the and it was just a taste of Wheeljack. We went into designing his character first, and yeah, I know he's a loved character. We're trying to do something a little different. You have to see the film, but we paid homage to Wheeljacks, and it gets into like this bigger scheme of things that I can't get into. I think that's where it's at now. I guess
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So,
plan.
so just, I guess like my like the reason for asking is I wanted to know, is there a reason for his design, or is just a pure like aesthetic change? That was kind of the nuts.
Oh yeah, I mean his character is different, overall. Like I think you got to look at, who we're calling Pablo right now as a different transformer. He's still smart, he's still techie, there's things like that, but he doesn't fall in between the old Wheeljack sort of like personality trait. Um, I think which is similar to other few characters in the lore as well. So we wanted someone to stick out to be like, all right, okay, if we have this type of character with Prime being a noble leader, we have the outcast, we have our Bumblebee, who's a fave. We have RC, who's like the soldier to Prime and always doing his. Like, how can we create like this smart techie sort of like individual who has a lot of heart and who can also pull at the heartstrings with fans? And so that went into the design how he looked, and then you'll see in his character, he's played off by Cristo Fernandez from if you guys have seen Ted Lasso at all, he's that character, and I think he bodied him, man. He did a great job with him, and yeah, that's kind of where it started.
Fantastic.
Wheeljack. Yeah,
Awesome.
Pablo
Pablo Sweep is what they're saying.
Pablo Wheeljack. Okay. Pablo who?
Pablo Sweep.
Pablo Sweep?
Yeah.
Okay. Where does Sweep come from?
Sweep is like, Pablo Takeover.
Ah, the Pablo Sweep. Got you. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. We'll have another conversation after we see the movie. How about
Of
I gotta
course.
that. That'll be a good one.
I look forward to it.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about within reason the Planet Eater in the room. Okay, so this is the debut of Unicron into the live action screen, and bringing him in on this first installment of a potential trilogy. I mean, a villain of this magnitude would typically be reserved for like the grand finale.
Yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah.
guys are like going all in, right? You guys are like going full force. Without spoiling anything, what can you tell us about Unicron's presence and what it means for the continuity?
He is the chaos bringer. He is definitely the polar opposite, if you will, of Primus, as we all know. And it's going to take time, but we are starting it off in this movie, like starting to put a voice to him in the live action world, and a goal, and so we're setting him up, if anything else, in this film. So he is there, he is present. You're gonna be able to see what he can do. There's teases of his robot form. Does he get into robot form? I can't tell you that here and now. But I think it's definitely worth the watch because yeah, we're just setting him up, and I just wanted to finally give a voice to him, a voice that I kind of grew up watching. He's Orson Welles back when I was a kid. And like now it's like, okay, how can we now, really bring him to life? How he comes back full circle to the whole lore, I can't say that just yet, mainly because I can't give it away. But like I said, this is a foundation, and we kind of looked at it as like a sort of a three-part scenario, me and the writers and myself. So
Fantastic.
we have plans to do more with them. I don't know how much I'm spoiling.
That's it.
All.
That's it. No, that's good. That's good. I don't want to. I don't want to know the spoilers. I'm trying to go around the spoilers.
Introduce his power, right? Dark Energon, who's fueled by it. When you start to step into Terracons, it's no joke when you're fueled by Dark Energon. And yeah, we just want to tap into it, like slowly give pieces of the lore out that the fans will know, and enough for like people who don't know Transformers to now step into it and go, okay, now I know what a Unicron is. Now we're about to step into something bigger, So there's like sprinkles of, Primus and this like throughout the film that again when the fans catch it, I'm like, okay, they're setting something up. And those who don't know it, I think they're now be able to track it, and at least go, okay, that was easy to follow. I think that's where some of the Transformer films in the past got a little tough to follow when you introduce too many elements and you're like, I don't know what to track, And so in this one, I want to make sure it was a singular track and we're able to stay on it and have fun when we're about to go, without putting us in a box.
Very cool. One of the things you guys have also touched on very heavily is the emotional connection that fans are going to experience with not only the human cast, but the robot cast as well. It sounds like you guys are not only focusing on action and excitement and leaving the story behind, much like what we've kind of seen before, but you're actually, equalizing the story's importance with the action. And
Yeah.
so what can fans expect in terms of feeling emotionally invested in each and every character of the movie?
Yeah, no, something for me, like it bottles down to even design work, right? So, like for me, when stepping into it, I'm like, okay, there's Autobots you fall in love with because of their personality. And so, a lot of them are loud and robust, and their personalities pop off like, off the wall, right? They're huge. But I was going for a lot of nuanced stuff too. I'm like, this is how people can care as well. Not everybody on screen needs to be funny, right, or comedic for you to like them. So developing layers, from their personalities and their character and their story, but also their design. Like you start to realize that certain eyes read better. Like Bumblebee's is amazing, right? Try not to do too much with his eyes because you can just read the emotion off of it. Similar to Prime. Prime's eyes, they're great, but they have the energon blue kind of coming through it. And so now you're like, all right, how do I adjust? And we started to adjust his face a little bit, which I know I didn't mean for it to go viral when I mentioned that it was coming off of Peter Cullen's look. But what we did was we brought Peter Cullen in, we turned on the cameras, we had him read the lines, and we're like, that's what we need. And we started to form more of Optimus Prime's face towards like, molding it into like what Peter Cullen naturally does to bring out his character. Because he has a lot of small little looks in the film that just like really need to convey a certain emotion. And I think people are going to really connect with that throughout the board, throughout the character and cast, like from Mirage to Michelle Yeoh playing Air Razor. That was a big one. She's super elegant, graceful, but she could pack a punch, man. She can light a flame. She can be a damn near dragon at times, right? And so like, and she does that as a character. And then when we started design her, we realized that the talking beak wasn't doing it. We were like, oh man, how do we? Let's rethink this. Like, how can we actually do something cool, something more Transformer-esque when she moves her mouth? So when you guys see the next piece of trailer or stuff that comes out with her, pay attention to how she moves her beak. Like, a lot of work went into that. It took Michelle Yeoh to go in there and start to performing, and it's like, that's how can we get that performance? So a lot of it was almost trial and error, experimenting, but I worked really hard to make sure that people could connect to all of the robots in very small ways and also big as well. So
That is absolutely incredible. You guys, from the sounds of it, man, y'all made a masterpiece. I'm so excited to watch this, man.
thank you, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. And I'm also sure, like during the process of making this film, you guys had a lot of, unexpected or memorable moments from working behind the scenes. What are some memorable or fun stories from behind the scenes that you can share that you experienced?
Oh my God. There's quite a few. I can probably give you one for every like damn near location we were at. But funny stuff, we need to do a bloopers reel of how many times Dominique Fishback has fell during her running scenes. That was hilarious because she wanted to do her own stunts. Shout out to Dominique Fishback.
Hey, yo.
She did. She did. She got on the wire. She did everything. But we had to prepare ourselves for a few more takes of her like tripping over herself. So she got to share that one with you. Fun and memorable stuff. Anthony Ramos having to literally get his driver license in front of all of us, in practice and learn how to drive while we were in prep. Little did we know we were going to do a movie where he didn't drive, and Mirage was actually the one driving around, and that was hilarious. That became the gag. But I would have to say like one big emotional one for me because we were traveling so much, and you're away from your family and all that, and you're shooting during COVID, and you're making a movie, right, about Transformers, and some could see it as talking robots, but as a fan, you're like, it means something more, right? But every day you're trying to get through the struggle of like, all right, trying to bring this thing to life, even though you don't see Optimus Prime there on set or Air Razor, and you're like constantly in your own head trying to make sure you're making something special, and for a reason. And there was a moment in Machu Picchu where we shot there for a couple of days, and they had just opened up Machu Picchu for the public. And they were like, we know you're shooting a movie, but people haven't been here in so long, and people use their life savings to get to Machu Picchu. And we don't want to shut it down. And we were like, well, we don't want to shut down Machu Picchu neither. So we said, let the fans in, like not the fans, let the people in, right? So we'll film and we'll move around the crowds of people. Like we'll make it work. It's like it's a beautiful place. And that's what we did. And there was a one moment where we had to wait. We're high up in these mountains, and every 2 seconds the clouds would come through and just like you couldn't even see 2 feet in front of you. And you have to wait for the clouds to clear, and you're like, all right, let's hurry up and shoot. And so it's Noah, Anthony Ramos running across a huge like field in Machu Picchu in the center. And uh and you had a drone tracking with him super fast, and it was like really dangerous. He had people all on top of the ruins looking down, and you had this one guy dressed in blue with a pole and 19-foot stick, 20-foot stick for Optimus Prime running beside him, so everyone could. So we all know that we can't clip that. We have to be above the actual pole itself because we're going to cut off Optimus Prime in the shot. So he was our reference pole, and someone from the top, man, I'm telling you, with like so much emotion, they go, "Run, Optimus, run!" Like as we're doing the scene, and like it doesn't say Optimus on this on the pole at all, and like Anthony reaches the end. The altitude is really high, so you can run out of breath really quickly. And he's trying to catch his breath, and then someone else yells like, "We love you, Anthony!" Like da 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 da. And it was like that moment, where you're like on the thing. You're like, "Wait a minute, this is much bigger." It's like, damn, people are on top of Machu Picchu yelling out, "Run out and just run!" And you realize how much of a fan base, how many people Optimus Prime has touched over the years. That's stronger than the fan base, right? So you know what I mean? So like having that moment on set, being on top of Machu Picchu, was like emotional. Like I'm looking over to Ant. Ant's getting all emotional. It's like he's like the first, he's a Puerto Rican kid from Brooklyn running in a Transformers movie. And so that was probably the most memorable moment and one of the most emotional moments we had on set, because we all had to step back and realize where we were at the moment and what we were doing, and how it's just much more than what anyone say in terms of like talking robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's special. Sorry, that was a long
Wow.
answer.
No, that was fantastic. I love when you elaborate. This is great. No, and I'm one of the people, Optimus Prime. I don't know if you know my story, but he 100% touched and, made me who I am today. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm super excited to see his story. And we know that, he's going to demonstrate some evolution in this movie. And, given
Yeah,
that he's my favorite character, I look forward to seeing how that unfolds.
yeah.
What can you tell us about his personality, like right after arriving on Earth versus what we might see near the end? You
Yeah,
touched on it earlier about
yeah, I've
him.
touched a little bit on it, but I think the best way to put it is that he doesn't understand human beings just yet. He knows they're a species, but he doesn't know who they are. He hasn't befriended, anybody, the Witwickies or anyone just yet, right? So, like, only person that has is Bumblebee. You'll see that in the film. Bumblebee's like, give humans a shot. Like these are my people, because I spent some time here. Optimus Prime is more like, that's great, but we are losing our folks on Cybertron, and it's important that we get back. And like as a fan, it's important to me, like, yeah, he has to get back. Like we can't just leave the Autobots. When they find this certain device that can possibly get them home, it can also open other doors. Let's just say that. And he has to make a decision. And now our character is like, he's still the Optimus we know and love, noble and a leader, but he has to make some tough calls. And so we see the evolution of the Optimus Prime, who would then have an understanding of humans. Whereas Noah, he only cares about his family. So he's stepping into it like, this is my agenda, and so that creates friction between the two characters. And we just hope that they can like see eye to eye. You know what I mean? I think really, when I went into it, I remember having like a pitch meeting with the studio, and I'm like, to all are one, and I'm glad those are on a call. There are certain people who knew it, and there are some other new heads like, what is that? I'm like, that's the model. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that everybody knows what it means to be Tell All Are One, and like, I want this movie to represent that. And so, in order way to get there, I felt the best way to get there was to have people not seeing eye to eye at first and truly like embrace the phrase by hopefully the end of the film. Whew, let's see if y'all get that.
Wow, wow, wow.
Or
Dude, you're a
not.
real
We have to wait till the next one, but we'll
you,
see when you guys see the film.
dude, you're a real fan. I can tell, I can see it, and it's really gonna reflect in this movie. I can already see that.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if you could show the fans your Optimus Prime, what you got back there, the big boy. We've been
Oh my
talking
God.
about him.
Yeah, we've been talking about them. So like this is my wife's office, first of all. I want to get that out of the front. It's nice. I picked a green actually. But usually I'm working at Paramount Studios. We just wrapped the film, and so I'm still unboxing stuff. And we're blending our office together because we have a baby, not a little baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. And this is our other baby, Optimus Prime. So yeah, this was something that the studio put together for us. You guys have seen the statue. It's now being traveled all over the world. You know, we have special statues made out of the actual height, and this is made out of the same material, so it's pretty sturdy. And yeah, every detail on this, man, we put so much work into it. It's so cool. Like it's like a little step beyond the toys in terms of the amount of details. But his stance, you know, everything from his armor plates and everything. I wanted to bring this back. Oh, another cool one for the fans. I mean, do only fans know this stuff. Like his legs are always blue in the movie. And if you watch any of the films, you're like, where do they go as a truck? Right. And so like you'll see in the truck, his truck actually has a blue back and is like trying to really pay homage to the cartoon version.
Yes.
And there's a really cool stuff. Yeah,
Awesome.
Optimus Prime, bro, and he's kind of dingy and beat up from war, so he looks like a true warrior. He's not all shiny, you know, which is kind of like our goal for the film, you know, when seeing it
Fantastic.
like dingy.
Fantastic. And just to confirm, this is a true reboot, right? This is not part of the Bayverse, or I mean, what can you tell us about that?
It's a reboot for sure. So I can say without
All
spoiling
right.
it.
All right. All right. All
It's
right.
a reboot for sure. If the Bayverse, you can still watch the Bayverse and be on your own verse, so to speak. With us, we're definitely like we want this to work. You know, we want people to. It's a refresher, so you can call it a reboot in terms of like where we were starting. But yeah, it's definitely a new direction for sure. There's some things you could probably connect to it. Clearly, B is like a huge connection to all the movies. You know what I mean in terms of his car, his design, the Camaro, and things like that. But it's a very small one in terms of the big ideas that we have. And so you guys will see definitely where we're going at the end of this film, which is crazy. We're going to have another convo when the movie's released
I
and
look forward to it.
have the small vacation. Me and you could definitely chop it up. And I want to know what you think in
Yeah.
terms of where we're going.
Fantastic. Was there anything else you would like to share with the audience that, what to expect or anything you want to say to the fans?
You know, expect this to be like the foundation start of something special. I'm here, always listening, clearly, but I think if anything, I just want to say thank you. You know, it's been quite a few years, you know, since the last Transformers movie. We've all got our dosage out of watching Bumblebee, and everyone's been patient and riding with the franchise for a very long time through its ups and its downs, right? And Transformers throughout the years and decades have always culturally found a way to like shift and be prominent in to whatever decade we're in. And so like now, you know, 2023, post COVID, post everything, like we really poured a lot into this to like bring some of that nostalgia back, as well as like guide us to places we've never been before. And just enjoy the film, lay back. It's a great family film for sure. But you know, for the fans, this is for you guys. So yeah, please check it out.
Thank you so much, Stephen. And, thank you once again for being here. And I speak on behalf of many of the fans when I say that we're so incredibly excited to experience this explosive film that you guys have prepared for us. And we're very confident that it'll deliver, because we see the commitment of all the people involved. So thank you.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. I'm glad we were able to make this work too. That's super cool.
You can find director Stephen Caple Jr. on Instagram, Twitter, at Stephen Caple Jr. for both of those. You can also find the latest information about the movie by going to transformersmovie.com. And also following the official accounts on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Transformers Rise of the Beasts will be releasing in theaters on June 9th, 2023 and June 22nd, 2023 for Australian and New Zealand fans. Tickets are now available, so check your local availability and be sure to secure a screening in the best format possible. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing if you're new, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it and want more. Until next time, till all are one, good night.